welcome to our Wednesday webinar. So excited to be here. My name is Robin Keeley. I am with finley-re. I'm the Director of Operations. Cole is on vacation today, so I'm taking over. Please bear with me. This is the first time I'm hosting. I'm so sorry if I make any mistakes. Just a reminder, if you have anything that you would like to add to the chat, please make sure that you add it to everyone so we all can see your questions. Just a couple of announcements before we get started. We have some new graduates to our program. Congratulations to Mary Kay Horton on making it to your 12 weeks. We are so excited for you. Our next one is Katrina. Congratulations to you. Great job making it through your program. And then our last one that graduated is Sonia Wright. Way to go. Such a big accomplishment for you. We are so excited. Our presenter today, he's our favorite loan officer, Jeff Quincey. Jeff has built a successful mortgage business over the past 19 years by taking an educative approach with his clients and referral partners. His entire mission is to show clients how they can create generation wealth through real estate and their prospective financing options. He's really great at that. Although this approach takes more time in educating and explaining options, it has proven to create lifetime clients and establishes him as a mortgage professional and not just as an order taker. Come on in, Jeff.
How we doing, everyone? Thank you so much for the introduction, Robin. Are we ready to get this started?
We are.
The great topic. I appreciate the brave souls that decided to show up for today's webinar with the word database in the tagline. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Who wants some good news to start the day before we get into databasing? So a couple of things is you guys have heard of the 2, now 3 bank collapses that are happening. Silicon Valley on Friday, Signature Bank kind of became more mentioned on Monday, and today right here in Phoenix, Western Alliance Bank is announcing that their shares are down 80%, as well as the central banks in Europe are mentioning bank failures and starting to investigate some of those. So you're seeing some banking issues on non-mortgage related banks, which is good. However, the anticipation headed into next week's Fed meeting is that they have no business raising the Fed funds rates. In fact, they're arguing that this is exactly why these banks are failing, is that they raise these rates too fast. So should be some good news on the horizon as it relates to mortgage rates. Another stat that came out this morning is the last 81-year history up through 2022 of home values. So always like to start off with some good news when you hear some of the bad things going on out there, and hopefully give you a little nugget to take out to your marketplace. So 81-year history of home values. There has been 73 years of increased home values, 7 years of decreased values, 5 of which were during the mortgage collapse of 2008. There's only 2 other years where there was decreases other than those 5 straight years, and 1 year where there was no change in value on the national average. Guys, this is great news to get out and get clients excited. Now is a good time to buy. We're headed into the busy buyer season in a normal market. As rates come down, demand's going to go up significantly. So as we're talking about database today, I want you guys thinking about what that first item of value is that you can send out to your database, because we're going to talk about that, the importance of not just having a database, but what are we putting in front of that client or prospective client that is going to be perceived as value that helps them. And I'm going to highly recommend that one of your first pieces that you send out is something to do with the effects on lower interest rates, creating more demand, less concessions given to the buyer. Sellers will be moved more to the driver's seat, which means property values are slowly going to start going up, making it less affordable. Even with lower interest rates, it's going to be less affordable for these buyers to buy houses come more than likely this summer timeframe. You know, May, June timeframe is when they're expecting that these rates are going to come down into that 5.5%, 5% range. And for most markets across the country, you're going to see it get crazy. I don't think it'll be as crazy as the 2.5 years of COVID. But I do think that, we all know in the industry, when the house is sitting for 60 days with 0 offers, the buyer's in the driver's seat. They're just happy somebody's at their door. When there's 4 or 5 people, you're going to start seeing bidding wars, and it might only be $5, $10, $15,000. It might be small percentage increases, but start thinking about what that marketing piece can be. What does that 81-year history show that buying real estate is a great investment? Especially as we're going to see some volatility in the stock market, people are going to be smarter to have their money sitting in real estate in the coming years than more than likely in the stock market. So let's get started. As I mentioned, we got everybody on this today. Congratulations for seeing the headline and still saying, hey, I have to be there. I presented on this topic no less than 20 times. And I always, every time, try to get more creative with the title and how we market the class to the real estate office to actually get people to show up. And then I jump into my very first slide and everybody's like, oh, you tricked us, right? Because they have a broker or they have a coach that tells them you got to go to Jeff's class. It's going to be really great. It's going to be about growing your business. And then we put up the database word and everybody freaks out because everybody around us, sales managers, coaches, they harp on, you got to have a database. Well, I'm going to argue that that's only 50% of the proposition, because that is true. You have to have a database. You have to have an organized database. But what we do with it is what's going to make the difference in your business growing or staying stagnant. So, I always start this class off with what is the most important step in growing your business. And I think we could all individually have 20 different answers. And of course, we already gave the answer away in the title today, but it's databasing, right? We all want to argue that as a real estate agent, we're in the business of selling homes. And as a lender, I'm in the business of selling mortgages. I've said for the 20 years I've been in this business, my job isn't to sell mortgages. My job is in the people business. I'm educating people. I don't have to sell a mortgage. I have to get people to know, like, and trust me, and then educate them on their options so that they can go sell themselves on what option is best. And I think the same thing, right? You guys open the doors, you show the homes based on the parameters that they provide you. You're not selling them on a hard sell, you have to buy this house. You're simply checking off the boxes and then educating them and walking them through the process and the negotiations on that house that they have themselves sold themselves on being the right property for them. So we have to remember that we're in the people business, which goes hand in hand with database. So why do we want a database? First thing is we got to stay organized. The hardest thing for all of us as straight commission is we have shiny objects thrown in front of us all the time. Do this, here's a new program you can use that will make yourself more efficient. You need a virtual assistant. All these things can be great, but it's hard for us to sift through what truly will help our business and what's going to, maybe be a financial detriment, or something that will grow our closings and in turn our commissions. So it helps us stay organized so that we're putting in the time and effort into our business in an efficient way. It's funny, this morning, I believe the universe, I think every month I do these webinars, something happens right before the meeting or the morning of that goes in line with my talk for the day. And I watched the Darren Hardy update, that video that he does every morning. And this morning, that's what he talked about, was signifying in your business, what is it that will guarantee you, or has measured results? Well, for us, a lot of what you're going to see today are going to be examples, not set in stone that this is what you should do. But for us in our mortgage branch, I'm literally laying out what we do, and my boss and branch owner, Reggie Green, I've never met anybody that has put together a database and found a way to monetize it. You're going to hear me say that a few times today. It's one thing to have a database. The other thing is, how do we monetize it? Not verbiage we would ever use out in the marketplace with clients, but the truth is, the database means nothing if we don't find a way to monetize that and turn that into closings and commissions, right? So how do we go about doing that? So a lot of what you're going to see and a lot of what I'm talking about is what I've learned from my boss and what we've implemented in our branch. And I'll have a slide here in a minute that talks a little bit about If we look at our overall branch volume, where our business comes from, and it's pretty impressive, and why I love teaching on this topic, because I think for me, it's the most important part to my business. And I believe that if we put it at the top of our list, it can be the most important part and the most successful part for your business. The goal of the database is to build deeper relationships with past, current, and even future clients, right? Creating new referral opportunities. You know, there's a NAR statistic out there. 87% of clients interviewed have responded favorably that they would use their agent again. We could call that a satisfaction survey. 87% of all clients surveyed would use the agent that just helped them on that transaction again. Do you want to know a really scary statistic that comes behind that? Only 12% of clients interviewed use the same agent the next time. Now, I'm going to show you and share with you a couple stories today that's going to prove that to a point. What's helped over the last 20 years is, you know, I remember when I got in the business, if you didn't have a website, they kind of thought you were weird. That was the new thing. You had to have a website. Now you got to have social media. You got to have followers. You have to have all of this stuff in place that they tell you should have to build a successful business. It's much easier for clients to find us. And yet only 12% of clients who said they would use the same agent again actually did. You can't say they weren't dissatisfied. That falls into the 13% category that responded negatively, right? So they were happy with the service. So what is it? I'm going to argue it's 100% staying in front of those clients, being top of mind, just like us in our business having shiny objects being thrown at us all the time. We have to understand that consumers out in the marketplace, they're getting hit with radio, TV, social media, almost 24/7. It's very easy for their shiny object, a different agent, to all of a sudden show up in their vision and go, oh, maybe I should give this person a chance. Oh, they're giving a discount. Oh, they're giving a rebate. All these gimmicks we've seen over the years on what real estate companies, real estate agents do to attract and acquire new clients. So I am a firm believer it's kind of a handful of that, and it's a little bit of we're not in front of them. They can't remember. I remember 5 years ago, I really liked my guy or my gal. I just can't remember who they are to even look them up. Okay, so we're going to cover some of that and hopefully fix some of those gaps in your process that will help eliminate that and make sure that 87% of your clients that you've closed over the years come back and use you for their real estate needs in the future. Create new referral opportunities is huge. We're going to talk about that a little bit, because if you're a top of mind for them, the downside of real estate, unless your client is a big time investor, your hope is to expand your database, because we know it. I believe it's a NAR statistic that the average homeowner sells their house every 4 to 7 years. I'm here to tell you guys that that's going to change. Databasing and generating that database referral is going to be even more important, because what do you think just happened over the last 3 years? A very large segment of American homeowners either bought or refinanced in the mid 2s to low 3% range. So the turnover that we would normally expect in 4 to 7 years, there's a lot of people, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm one of them. My wife wants to sell our house that has a ton of equity and move somewhere else, and I refuse to, because we have a 3.49 interest rate. We have a cabin that we locked at 2.99. As much as I'd like to sell that and upgrade that, that house is going to cost me more just on price, and now my rate's going to be double. How many other millions of Americans are in that same boat? So you're not going to see this turnover that you normally would, because even though they might have valid reasons to move, they're going to sit in place. Now, they might buy second homes, they might buy investments. So how do we take that one member of our database, knowing that even on the good side, they're not moving again for 4 to 7 years, and how can we monetize that one individual? And guys, I know when the words leave my mouth, it sounds bad. That's why this isn't customer facing, right? We would never want the general public to know that we're talking in terms of how do we monetize them. But when we're talking in a business setting and we're talking about database, that's absolutely what we're doing. I've come across lots of agents that have databases in numerous Excel spreadsheets, 3 or 4 different CRMs. It's all over the place, which instantly tells me without any proof of behind the scenes that there's no system that they're approaching that database. They're not monetizing it. Makes them feel good that they got these 1,500 people in there, but they're doing nothing with it. So that goes back to the first bullet point and making sure that we're organized. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Increase the chance of repeat business. Goes back to NAR statistic. We don't want 1 out of every 10 happy clients that we put into a house or we sold a house for to come back to us. We want 10 out of 10. So we're going to increase our chances of doing that. And then who here would turn down the opportunity to exponentially grow your business with less effort and less money? I'm signing up for that twice on Sundays. It seems like there's a lot of people out there that are peddling their products, and every time you turn around, it's another $50 here, another $2,000 program here, and it's sold to you under the guise that if you do this, we're going to turn your 2 closings into 4, exponential growth, and it never happens. Right? What if we could do that for free, or near free? I got a couple ideas that cost a little bit of money that we use in our branch that I'll put out as suggestions. So I added this slide in probably 2 or 3 presentations ago because I was meeting with 2 brand new agents, been in the business 30 days, and sitting down, we're talking about databasing. Hey, number 1, you got to database everybody you know. You got to have them in an organized central location so that we can even get to the point of talking about how we're going to market to that database. And one of the 2 agents said, Jeff, can you say who are we databasing? Who should we put in there and who should we not? I said, well, first, we should put everyone in there. Okay. And then wasn't 10 minutes later, she said, everyone? And I responded and I said, everyone goes in the database. And we wrapped up the meeting an hour later and we end it. And you could just tell we're walking out of the meeting room and she's like, stops in her tracks. And she's like, everyone. And I said, everyone. Now, everyone goes in, not everybody gets the right to stay in our database, right? You send out a piece of material, and we do this in our branch, and we laugh because some of these people will reply all to the branch email, and we all get to see it. And it's this long, venom spewed response, take me off, this isn't value. And that's fine. My boss chuckles. He has a goal that he adds X amount of people to his database every week. And I remember him telling us a story that, we see on our database, it's, client, he's got a realtor database, got a client facing database. We have a database of LOs, loan officers we've talked to that we're recruiting. And there's different information and value going out to each one of those 3 databases. And we'll see, 5 to 10 unsubscribes a week. And he tells a story about how he used to be so emotionally attached to every unsubscribe, like, man, I'm here for you. I'm giving you value. How can you treat me like that? He's finally found a way, and I'm going to advise you to do the same, unattach from that emotional response. They unsubscribed. If you have a system that automatically does it, move on. If they have a system, or you don't have a system that automatically unsubscribes them, you have to go do it. Go do it with a smile on your face. Because the way that we've made our change within our branch is we have a goal of how many people we're going to add to our database every week. That goal always gets hit, and the number is exponentially greater than our unsubscribe. We remember at the beginning, I said, we're in the people business. We're not selling houses. We're not selling mortgages. The downside to being in the people business is personalities clash, right? I'm sure you've referred a client over to a lender, and they're a great lender, and you're shocked you've done 20 transactions with them. And this one client calls you and says, Betty, I just have to tell you, Jeff just isn't for me. Sometimes that happens for us on the loan side. We have to call the agent back and say, hey, I just don't think we're a good fit. We're already butting heads, and we're 1 hour into this relationship, and it might be a 30 or 60-day relationship. Be willing to recognize that in your own business. And it's something I preach in our branch. Not every client is your client. They're not your people. And you won't be the loan officer or the real estate agent for that person. You just won't be the fit, right? The personalities don't match. And a lot of times when we see the unsubscribe, especially the ones where they feel the need to type something nasty, sometimes you got to smile and sit back and be like, that wasn't my person. And they figured it out on their own. Awesome. Let's go deliver value to 2,000 other people, right? And focus on the good, not the bad. So some necessary steps that you have to take. First and foremost, we just talked about this, got to create a database or a CRM. Some of you are at brokerages that have great CRMs already built in. My only advice there is, right now you love the brokerage. People move brokerages every day. Do you have your database, right? Because that's your money. Do you have your database in a place that you own and you have that? So some of these brokers that offer that, they're great CRMs, great systems to stay in front of people, create value without having to go out to outside graphic designers. There's nothing wrong with that, but just be mindful of where your database is sitting. Like I mentioned earlier, some people have their database in 3-4 different Excel spreadsheets, maybe 2 or 3 CRMs that they bounce around, and we're all busy. We're all worried about that next commission and making that next sale. So that is more important on the ladder of importance, that we'll put that to the wayside and go out and show homes and we'll take the listing. I'm going to argue that you're leaving thousands of dollars of commission on the table right now by not taking 1 or 2 days to clear your schedule. And people say, well, Jeff, I got showings tomorrow. I got a listing appointment tomorrow night, like every day. I can guarantee if you look in your calendar, and this is what I do with stuff I know needs to be done, and I need a focus effort, is I'll look at my calendar out a week and a half, 2 weeks, and there's absolutely one day that right now is completely clear, and I'll go block off the entire day where it is only focused on that. Now, my team, my agent partners, my client database is going to be told that I am out of the office that day. Because here's the problem we get into, is we go make a great, well-laid plan that next Wednesday, I'm only focusing on my database because let's be honest, we don't like working in our database. It's a love-hate relationship until something better comes along, right? Just last month, we talked about mindset. Here's something to start watching in the conversation you have with other people, the conversation you have in your own head. When somebody says, I'll try to make it to your birthday party. Oh, you're having this event, I'll try to make it. Reword that in your own mind that they just told you, I don't plan on coming, or they might have been sincere. I plan on coming until something better comes along. And we will do that same thing in our business. We will block off a day, focused effort on our database until something better comes along. What's something better? Tuesday night, you get a request from a client who's pre-approved to go look at 2 or 3 houses. Instantly, that comes off the table. So to go get that one commission check, if it's a $500,000 house, it's $15,000. It's very easy to justify to ourselves that we need to drop everything and go make that $15,000. May I argue that Wednesday was a $200,000 day you just threw away? And it could be a $200,000 change in your business year after year after year for the rest of your career that you threw away for $15,000. Hold to your guns, put that client off 1 extra day if that's what you need to do, because getting your database organized and set up is going to be the most important thing. If you don't already have it organized, it is absolutely, I can say this with 100% certainty without knowing anything about your business. If you do not have an organized database, that if I called you right now, as soon as this webinar ends, and says, I want you to send out to your 500,000, 1,500, 2,000 person database this one thing, and it's going to generate you 3 appointments. Like, and your response is, it's not organized, I can't send that out in 5 minutes. No, I've created the graphic. All you got to do is upload it to your database set. If your answer is, I can't do that in 5 minutes, you are losing a huge amount of income potential in your database. We're going to go over some examples, some real life examples of agents we've met with that have been in that exact position. The next thing we need to do is we need to grow the database, right? Once we have it organized, our number one mission day in and day out, some people will call it prospecting. We need to be growing that database. Are we prospecting through expireds? Are we calling FISBOs? Are we doing events where we're meeting people? Are we simply meeting people at the grocery store? What are we doing to grow that database, right? Because if we grow our database and we're committed to it and we're sending out items of value, the bigger the database is, the bigger the return you're going to get. It's just law of numbers. And then we're going to define the process on how we're going to reach that database with the value. We're going to deliver. I put value in there 3 times. Guys, I'm going to say this. If you're doing this right now, it's not a personal attack. Please, please, please stop sending out newsletters with grandma's recipe. The recipe part isn't bad, but if you're using a third-party system that creates your newsletter, I hear this all the time. Well, Jeff, at least I'm sending something. If you're pulling that canned newsletter from a third-party site, you are at risk that every person in your database is getting that from 3 to 5 other people. The second they get it from even one other person, you just delivered 0 value, because the first thing they see when 3 days later they get the same newsletter from another agent or another loan officer is, oh, I'm so important to them, they put 0 time into this. They clicked a button and sent me a canned newsletter. And I have a solution for you on that. Again, not a personal attack. I'm here to tell you, you're tricking yourself into believing that you are delivering value to your database and it is instantly being devalued. And it's not helping your cause. It's helping you stay top of mind. They're seeing your name at a devalued rate. So here's some things that we do. This is a 41 touch point process that we have in our branch. Guys, this is just an example. You make it your own. You fill in what we're going to go through each one of these, but you fill in what fits your personality, what you know matches your database. The first thing, personal monthly newsletter. You notice I put in there, not canned. You guys, so that's something on the mortgage side. You guys are probably tied to more than one lender. You see their canned newsletters coming out. We all use the same, probably 3 different systems that have the same canned newsletter. And unfortunately, everything I just told you as a real estate agent applies to us as loan officers. It's gaining 0 traction with our database. We have a system here at Fairway that sends the database. We have no, or not the database, sends the newsletter. We have no say over it. We simply know when that goes out. We know it goes out at the beginning of the month. So at the middle of the month, all of our loan officers send out a personal monthly newsletter. We have a business development manager that helps our agents create a MailChimp account. We create a template where all you have to do is every month go in there, change out the pictures you want, retype out the paragraph or couple sentences you put in, and literally hit send. Now, my boss doesn't originate mortgages anymore, and he has a database of over 30,000 past clients or prospective clients. So when one of those responds to him, he sends that to one of us loan officers. It is a weekly occurrence that we get a call from one of his clients that says, hey, Reggie told me to talk to you. He's not actually originating anymore. And I said, perfect. When did he do your mortgage for you? Oh, 7 years ago. But it's always followed by, but I feel like he's my best friend. We've never skipped a beat. Reason why? Personal newsletter starts off with what him and his kids did in the last 30 days. So whether that was a trip or one of the kids' sporting events, right? The next section is a little bit about what's going on in the market, but very just general stuff. Then you get to the very bottom, if they still scroll through, to very in-depth. This is what's going on with house values. Here's what's going on in the mortgage market and the interest rate market. They have to scroll to the bottom. That most of them don't. They love reading about our personal stuff that we're doing in our life. What's that tie into? We're in the people business. We want to get our database to know, like, and trust us. And if they see what we're doing on a personal level, oh, we took this trip, not only are they getting to know us, they're now talking points. Right? So if they do run into us in the public, right, sometimes it's kind of awkward. if it's not somebody you see all the time, but you get this monthly newsletter every month and they know what you've been up to, it's an icebreaker. Hey, how was the family trip up to Aspen? I saw you guys went skiing. That looked amazing. And guess what? Now it's their talking point to break the ice, and it's your first indication that people are reading it. It's the number two piece of value that we provide that has the second highest open rate, and it is unsubscribed at the second least. I'm going to get into what's number one. It's the only thing that beats the personal newsletter. This is allowing your database to get to know you. The next thing we do is we do birthday calls. Put a reminder in there. It's not business related. I've sat in 20 years in the business. I've sat in numerous real estate offices, and I've heard agents doing birthday calls, and I'm just sitting there, clenched fists, like so excited. Like that's awesome. They've implemented that into their business. They're making those birthday calls. It doesn't have to be a call. It could be a Facebook Messenger. Maybe you shoot a video. One time you make it generic and you send it for that 1 year. That's what you do. Maybe you send them a birthday card. Whatever it is, and I would switch it up every year, you have to be consistent with it. But what I'll hear routinely agents do is, hey, John, just want to call. Happy birthday, man. What's the family doing for you? And you hear some silence because they're saying, oh, we're doing nothing, or they're going to take me out to dinner. And the very next thing out of their mouth was, do you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate? What'd you just tell that client? You actually had zero desire to wish them a happy birthday. You were using it as an excuse to talk about business and see how they could help you on their birthday, how they could help you make money. So do birthday calls, whatever that is, and force yourself to not talk about business at all. If they bring it up, of course, talk about it. This is your touch point. Everything that we deliver for value, we're trying to deliver value in a way that it sparks a real estate or lending conversation without us starting it. So if you have that quick little 30-second birthday call conversation, maybe it's I don't recommend text. It's not personal. It's got to be a text. It's got to be a funny video. Send a handwritten card. Let them bring up real estate, right? And get into that. And we're going to go through these a little bit more in depth, but let them bring up the business. And then now it's okay to have that because they're like, hey, what's going on in the market? They just gave you the green light to talk about it. Alphabet calls. We call 2 letters in the alphabet every week. You do that, you'll hit your entire database in a quarter. If you have a database of 500 people, divide that by 12, it's roughly 47 people a month. Obviously, you have some letters that are less heavy. You take that by a week, it's 10 calls a week. Either block off 1 day or say, I'm going to make 2 calls a day, and you block that off. And that's just a follow, you're checking in, right? And we're going to get into that a little bit more of what we talk about on those calls. Now, HomeBot. If you guys know about this and are using it, awesome. Hopefully you hear a lot of the same stories I'm going to share when we get to the HomeBot slide. If you're not using it, highly recommend it. I know for non-disclosure states, like Montana is a non-disclosure state, you can't see what the house sold for. Everybody in Montana, all the agents think HomeBot is of no value. It is of huge value still in a non-disclosure state. Takes a little bit more upfront work to get that to work the initial time around on your database. So just know that if you're in a non-disclosure state, HomeBot's still a great tool. We're going to go into that. Boomerang DM is something that we use monthly as well as at events. We're going to talk about that. So if we do all that, that gives us 41 touch points throughout the course of a year with a client. Do they have any reason to be 12% still using the same agent? If you touch them 41 times, they know who you are, they remember the job you did, they know how to get in contact with you. Now, I'm going to add to that, this isn't necessarily items of value, but things we can do to grow our database. Huge proponent of doing community events. We have a few agent partners we work with where we do client appreciation events. Phoenix is an oven in the summertime. So I have 3 agents last year that we rented out a theater at Harkins. And one of them, 3 years ago, Lion King came out. Whatever the new family-oriented movie is for the summertime that's going to be a big hit, get your partners together, lender, title, like we have a financial coach that participates. And we split that bill with the agent. So it's super affordable. It's anywhere from $100 to $200 per sponsor, plus the agent puts in as well. We get raffle prizes. So everybody registers when they come, because what you want is, the way you're going to grow your database is not just client appreciation, but you want to have room there for those past clients to say, hey, remember when I told you that you needed to call Erica to buy a house? She's throwing this client appreciation event, and I'm able to invite 2 people. I'd love you to come. So then we have a raffle where they register while they're getting their popcorn and their soda. We don't pay for that. They get a free movie on us, and they register for that. And then it's the second the movie's over, the theater gives us like 10 minutes to vacate. And we quick raffle off the 10 or 12 items that we have. Everybody's going home with something from one of the partners. So big deal on client appreciation events. I know people that do them monthly, quarterly. Monthly is a huge expense. You got to have some solid partners that can offset some of that cost for you. I would say quarterly is a great goal. And if you don't have a database of actual closed clients to yet justify that, just do one a year. You might have 10 people. Jeff, what am I going to do with 10 people? I'm not renting out a theater. Sometimes we've done Easter egg hunts out at a community park. That would be more of a community event, but then invite your database to it. But you only have 10 people. Take them to a nice steak restaurant, steakhouse, where, yeah, it might be 70, 80 bucks a person, but pour into them. Let them know how appreciative you are. If you have 10 clients, it is so much easier for you to show your appreciation to 10 past clients from a cost standpoint than it is to show 1,000 past clients, right? So be willing to spend a little bit more to pour into them and make them realize that you appreciate them, and they're going to be more apt to refer you and remember you for that one meal. I did that right before COVID happened. So our 2019, every real estate agent on the buyer side that was referred to us, and the loan closed in 2019, in 2020, we took them to a steakhouse for a private dinner, right? Got bottles of wine, and that was an expensive event for us. We didn't bring in any vendors or partners, but I wanted my agents to know that they were appreciated in what they helped us create that previous year. Okay, it goes a long way. Think about that same thing for your clients. So let's get into each one of these value items. And again, feel free to swap these out, but you want something that has multiple touch points. I just feel, off of experience and results, these are the best and cost effective. Monthly newsletter, like MailChimp, is nearly free to have a MailChimp account. I think it's free up to so many contacts, and then they start charging, and even then it's like 10 bucks a month. And we just use MailChimp because it's really easy to create a template. You have to get very non-negotiable. And we're going to talk about this. If you guys have listened to my previous webinars, I talk about non-negotiable items in your business all the time. This is very important that when you put this together, you're very straightforward with yourself and real with yourself on what you're going to do. The newsletter needs to go out the same day every month. I don't care what you pick, but if you pick the 15th, I don't care that the 15th next month is on a Sunday. You're sending it on the 15th. It was a non-negotiable. Don't even enter it into your practice of your business until you're committed to following through with that. Clients see that, they feel it. And if it's prospective clients that haven't actually closed with you yet, you're triggering a subconscious thought in their mind, which is, wow, if this agent is this buttoned up and this meticulous with sending out a newsletter, how are they going to handle my real estate transaction? It's the number one reason why I am at Fairway Independent Mortgage with Reggie Green specifically right now, because we met with him knowing that we were going to make a change, me and my buddy, and there was a systematic approach. I had a text message from him every Tuesday morning. Do you have any questions? Had a phone call from him every Friday headed into the weekend. And my answer was, if this is how he is recruiting us, how much do I have to learn from him on delivering value to my clients and my agent partners? This is a guy I want to work for. That's the exact same thing you're trying to set up subconsciously with your clients. Don't use the canned service. So we've mentioned that now 3 times on 3 different slides. That's how important it is to me. you're literally, in my opinion, wasting time sending that out other than putting your face and your phone number. It's not a wow factor. Make it mainly about you and your family and what you do. If you're putting anything business, market stats, which I think is a good thing, put it towards the bottom. Once again, you're getting into their subconscious where they don't even realize it. And they're like, wow, Sally just wanted me to know what their family is up to. And then they scroll down like, oh, here's some cool market statistics. Now, whatever that business related stuff is, it better be high value. It better be backed up factually. It should not be opinion based. It should be backed up with like that 81-year history of property gains, 73 times out of 81 years. Like that's a cool stat. That was from Schiller. You know, you could go pull that chart and put that in there. It's factual. And now you're delivering business value with it. So business information at the end. And we, you know, I do this out in real estate offices. We help, if you're working with us on the lending side, we actually help you create that initial template so that it makes it easier to put this as a non-negotiable on your business plan and send that out every month. Birthday calls. I kind of already dived into this going through the list. Call or recline on their birthday or send a video. Our boss, when I first joined, it was funny. He plays guitar. He's a decent singer. So he played happy birthday, not mentioning anybody's name. And he sent it as a Facebook messenger to every agent on their birthday for a year. And I remember I walked into a real estate office and the agent's name was Lori. And she walked up and she's like, do you know that Reggie grabbed his guitar and sung happy birthday to me and sent it to me in a video? And I just smiled. I didn't have the heart to tell her the truth. Everybody got it. How special did she feel? Right? I know an owner of a Keller Williams Market Center. He actually owns a few, so he has a lot of agents under him. You don't see him a lot. His non-negotiable in his business is he is going to call every one of his agents on their birthdays. It's non-negotiable. It does not matter if he's sitting in Cancun on vacation. It does not matter if he's sick. He's calling. So that's why the non-negotiable piece is important, because what happens if you have 4 clients that all know each other and Sally reached out to Rob and says, happy birthday. Oh, well, by the way, did you hear from Jeff yet? And no, I'll probably get it. I'm used to getting his birthday message every year. The day comes and goes. He's like, oh, I guess I'm not important to Jeff anymore. That's why non-negotiable is so important. These people need to see that you are so systematic in your approach that you're going to handle their real estate transaction the same way. This is setting you apart from other people. Other people get the idea. They make birthday calls for a week, maybe a month. Maybe they do some Facebook messengers. They open up the, all the birthdays for the day. They're wishing happy birthday to people they don't even know, but yet they won't do it in their database. It's absolutely setting you apart. Again, we talked about this. Don't talk about business. It's their birthday. It is about them. It's not about real estate. They bring it up. I'm going to argue, even make that response short. Hey, glad you asked about the market. Just in real short, we're starting to see things turn, but let's schedule a time to talk about that. Today's your day. That answer will blow them away, because if they had that same question with 5 other agents, they're going to talk their ear off for the next hour. Set yourself apart. Alphabet calls, 2 letters a week, 1 call a quarter, so 4 calls a year. What are we talking about on these calls? Jeff, we're already calling them on their birthday. We're sending them a newsletter. You don't want me to talk about business. Wow, this sounds like school. It sounds like I'm in a jail. This doesn't sound fun. Same thing. We're not talking about business. Ford. Hopefully you guys know what Ford stands for. Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Don't go through Ford in order. Maybe something about their family that's happened. So that's all you're calling to check in. Hey, I saw Ryan broke his leg at the football game last week. How's he doing? How's his recovery? Right? So it's funny when you know the Ford method and you're in sales and you hear conversations, you see people going through it in order. Hey, how's your family? And then they don't even they don't even listen to the response. And there's something in that response where you could totally talk for another hour on. They get done and you're like, awesome. How's the job at Honeywell? And the person now is sitting back going, I just told you some pretty important stuff that you didn't even respond to or acknowledge. You have an agenda here, right? So don't have an agenda. Recreation, maybe you know they play sand volleyball on the weekends. Hey, how's that? Or they're on a softball team. Hey, how's your softball team doing? Maybe it's dreams, but you don't have to talk about all four of them. Have a very specific reason that you know about them. What this is going to do, because I know you guys are sitting there right now, and I have this with certain people in my database. You're sitting there going, yeah, some of these people, you're telling me I have to call everybody? Some of these people, I don't know about their family, their occupation, their recreation. I don't know their dreams. Awesome. That's a good realization. You need to step back to where you met them. And when you meet new people moving forward, make it a more focused effort to have those conversations be about them so that you know these things. These should be in your CRM for that person in the notes. You know, single, has 3 dogs named Bailey, Bella, JC. Those are down to 2 now, but those are the names of my dog. These are talking points, right? So if you have people in your database that you don't know any of these things about, all that is a realization that you got to get to know them. Not a bad thing. Hey, I'm just touching base. Want to see how things are going. We met at the grocery store, 2 months ago. Just wanted to call. I was thinking about you, wanted to check in on you. What's the number one thing people want to talk about? Themselves. Just have an open-ended question. Let them start talking. Make sure you're taking notes. Put it in the CRM. I think that's one thing that people fail. It's like, don't look at this as a checklist of tasks. I had 10 calls to make. Check it off. I'm going home. Talked about this last month's webinar. If that's all you're doing, you're not focused on the results, you're not going to get the results. The purpose of the call is to get to know people better, for those people to know you better, know, like, and trust you, and want to work with you in the future. Okay. Let them bring up real estate. Then it's fair game. This is what's going on. Where are you at? I know when we talked 2 months ago, you're renting. When's your lease up? What can I do to help? Right? Can I put you in HomeBot? We're going to talk about that next. Can I put you in HomeBot? New tool I have that delivers great value. I think you'll find it very, very helpful in some of the data that you're looking for on top of what I give you. Okay. All these other tools we're talking about give that real estate conversation starter. So when you're calling them, there's going to be something, right? It's once a quarter. There's something in the last 3 months that you've sent them that maybe has them confused or has them wanting to ask a question. So let them bring that up. HomeBot, number one thing we have. Nobody opts out of it. It is a very low percentage. We have 30,000 people in our entire database that get HomeBot every single month. They call it a digest. If you guys don't know what it is, highly recommend you can sign up for free. I think it's your first 25 people are free. They call it the freemium version, and set yourself up on it. If you do nothing else, set yourself up on it. They get a digest of what their home is worth. They just rolled out about 1.5 years ago. This used to be just for sellers. Okay, so people that already own homes. Now they have a buyer section where you can set them up. The only downside to it is it's zip code, but they can go in when they get that digest, right? In April, they get the digest for 85226. They can go, I'm not looking to buy in Chandler, Arizona anymore. Let me update this to 85203. They can do that themselves. Gives them all the information about their house if they own a house. Estimated value. Now, I'll tell you, sometimes that estimated value is wrong. And I've had agents storm into my office, Jeff, this client just bought at $800,000. Their first home bot went out saying their house is worth $750,000. They're freaking out. And I just sat back and smiled. And I said, awesome. Why do you think this is awesome? This is horrible. I said, they're a data aggregator like anybody else, but guess what just happened? A real estate conversation just started and you didn't have to start it. That's a huge value. That's what HomeBot does, is it starts real estate conversations. Guess what you get to do? Oh my gosh, yeah, you just bought it for $800,000. No, the market hasn't gone down $50,000. Give me 30 minutes. I'm going to go do a CMA and I'm going to go into your HomeBot and get that update. Just let me know if you ever see anything else that's off like that. I'm able to manually go do that for you. Tells them there's a drop down on $50 to $500 in extra payment, how much that will save off their mortgage. If their mortgage data is in there and they have mortgage insurance, it will tell them every month if they're at a spot that they should refinance to get rid of mortgage insurance or call their servicer to get it removed. It tells them what their estimated rent price would be on Airbnb for their neighborhood. What's that do? That creates a conversation. My mortgage payment's $2,000. They're saying average rents for Airbnb in my area are $3,000. You know what, Sally? Maybe you should find us a different house and we should turn this into an Airbnb. We have very, very, very low unsubscribe from HomeBot because it is 100% value. It is the #1 open rate. If it doesn't go out because of a glitch, those clients will call and say, where is my HomeBot digest? That's how valuable it is. After you get past the freemium, this is the one thing that we offer our partners that costs something. It's $50 a month for the first, I believe it's 500 people in your database, and it's split 50-50 amongst your sponsored lender and yourself. And then it goes up, I believe, $10 per month for every 500 people you add to that. If you're new, you don't have a database, I would say 200 people minimum. You don't need this yet. Have this in the plan. We go back to the beginning, organize a database or start it, then grow it. Once it grows, this is a great low cost option. It's the #1 value piece that we send out as a lender. So I already kind of mentioned that. Only set it up once you have the database created. Boomerang DM is a thing that we started about a year ago. You guys I have the website there at the bottom. You guys can go search this. Boomerang as a company goes out in all of your markets and most markets, and they negotiate most commonly 2 for 1. Like Smashburger, I think was last month, buy one, get one of equal value or less for free. They negotiate those deals for your area. You upload your database to them and they send them out. So they might have Smashburger where I live in Gilbert that month, but over in Glendale, it might not be Smashburger. It might be, I'm just trying to think of other ones I've seen, the Tropical Smoothie Place. So based on their address, they will get the Boomerang offer for that month. It's 87 cents per card sent. I put on there on mailed. So they do all of that for 87 cents. They go negotiate the offers. They automatically mail them to your people, your database. It has your name, your branding on it, like it came from you. The on mailed is 67 cents a piece. We have a stack of these every month at our office that we just hand out. Why would you want to do that? Wouldn't that be cool if you brought those to your open house and handed that with a giveaway that says, hey, Sally Smith is giving me a free burger at Smashburger, has your information. Now, the downside of it, does that get thrown eventually? Yes, but you gave them something of value. So that's one that we just started adding in about a month ago. I think it's great for agents to have a stack of them. You know, go get 100 of them for $67 and bring them to your open house on a Saturday. Hand them out as everybody comes in. So results, told you that this is pretty much our entire marketing plan when it comes to databasing within our branch. 20% of our volume comes from databasing with value. Okay, our branch did almost $200 million worth of volume last year, and we can track 40 million of that back to 20% of our business, back to databasing and staying in front of our clients and our realtor partners, right? We have a completely different system that we do for our realtors. Weekly rate updates. I do a monthly or a Monday morning market update. Reggie, my boss, I know if anybody on this call today that already works with us, you know that every Friday you get an on-call email, right? That says who in the branch is on call for Saturday, Sunday. Now, I don't participate because all my partners know, call me 7 days a week. I work just like you, but we always have somebody on. Reggie created that for the idea of giving people a weekend off. I just prefer not to partake. So you get that every, Friday. He's very diligent that that's going out Friday night or first thing Saturday morning. So you know who's on call. It's all over his social media pages with the contact information. It's very easy to get a hold of our branch when you work with us because of that. Has to be a non-negotiable, right? His monthly newsletter that he does for our entire branch is going out. He left today for Vegas for March opening round of March Madness. And he has an email that goes out first thing Wednesday morning. I was up at his office yesterday as he's scrambling to get out of town. And he's like, yep, I just have to get my Wednesday morning email template done so Kaylee can send it out for me. And then I'm out of here. I'm going to go home and pack. Non-negotiable. It did not matter that he was leaving town tomorrow. He has a system in place that it's still going to get done. There's somebody in place to send it for him. I leave the country on Saturday. And everybody's like, are you still going to do you said that your Monday market update and your Wednesday rate update's non-negotiable. Are you still going to do them? Yeah. Supposedly I'm going to have horrible cell service. I will find a way to send those out to my 117 agents that get them every day. Or I'll find a way to get it to my partner who can send it to everybody on the database. But those will still go out. Like, it's not an excuse for me not to send that value item. All of this is resulting in you setting yourself up as the trusted expert in your market. You're keeping them top of mind so that 9 out of 10 people that liked your service can't find you in 3-4 years when they need you again. Put the story on here, listing buyer listing. Imagine that because of your database, it results in a listing, which now they need to go buy a place. And when you buy that place and you sell the listing, what are you going to do? You're going to market and canvas. You're going to door knock. You're going to do whatever you have to do to get that listing sold. So now another listing in that neighborhood comes available. And it's either another buyer side. This just keeps going on and on. And if it's not another buyer side because they're moving out of state, you're getting a referral fee. If you play your cards right in your database, everybody you come in contact with, this train of listing buyer just never ends. This is how you exponentially grow your business. And you go from 10 closings in year 1 to 20 closings in year 2 and 40 closings in year 3. When you see these big teams doing 1,000 deals, they didn't wake up one day and do 1,000 deals. They got there systematically. The problem is most of us, myself included, the first 16 years of my business was very all over the boards, shiny objects, squirrel moments, right? My mind all over the place. Until I got very systematized in my business, it started becoming easier. Remember on the first slide, would you like to grow your business exponentially with less time and less money? We're all going to say yes to that. That's how, if that is a goal of yours, is to grow your business, you can do that. I skipped a spot on the HomeBot thing. I told you I'd share this story with you. So Reggie and I went and met with an agent right before COVID that we've been working with for probably 2 years. And he kind of wanted to regroup. We had put HomeBot into place, and he had heard about it, wanted to talk about it. And our first question is, where is your database? That is one of my first questions for you. Think about where your database is. Is it organized? If I sent you something of value, could you send that out to your entire database in 5 minutes? And he said, oh my gosh, I have numerous different computers that have crashed, and Excel spreadsheets and CRMs. And he goes, but I want to hear about this HomeBot. It sounds amazing. And our response was, you need to go home and get your database cleaned up, 100%, everything in one place, nice. We don't care if it's an Excel spreadsheet, if it's a CRM, it needs to be cleaned up and organized. He's kind of dejected. He's like, well, tell me about it. We're not going to talk to you about HomeBot until you do this. Okay. And we did leave the meeting. I remember standing in the parking lot, and Reggie looked at me and goes, I don't think he's going to do it. Right? This is 12 years of not being organized. What's going to make him go do it now? Sure enough, a week later, he calls and said, guys, I have my database in one Excel spreadsheet. It's ready to go. I'll send it to you as proof. I'm not pulling your leg. Talk to me about HomeBot. So I said, perfect. This is what we're going to do. We're going to help you get this uploaded. It's going to send a monthly digest to everybody. These are all, current homeowners. You have their addresses. That's awesome. This is a guy that does decent business, probably 20 buy sell sides total a year. So he makes good income. He gets all excited, sends it out. I'm not saying these results are typical because his database was pretty large. Literally within 48 hours, he had 3 calls from past clients that he sold homes to over 7 years ago say, and I won't use his name, say, you know what? We actually want to sell and buy, and we loved you. We couldn't remember your name. Because we didn't know your name, we couldn't look you up anywhere. We couldn't find any documents. They were probably shredded years ago. And your digest came at the right time. He got 3 listings for $1.5 million in total. Now, I'm not real great at math, but that 1.5 million, I believe, is what? $45,000 in commission. Now, he never told us the rest of the story, if any of those moved out of state, if those turned into buyers, where it continued to funnel down to as well. But you assume they sold at 1.5 million. They probably went and bought at least 1.5 million. That one digest, that first digest, we can almost guarantee turned into $90,000 in GCI. Okay. These were people he was never going to get because he wasn't staying in front of them. That's the power of databasing and being organized. So here's my recommendation on next steps, and then we're done for the day. Commit to the database. This is all great to come on here and be like, you know what, Jeff, this sounds great. You're right. My database is out of order. I don't have one. I need to start one. I got to do all this stuff. If you don't do anything, if you don't commit to, I understand the value. Jeff, I agree with you. I see it. There's dollar signs there that I'm losing. I need to do this. That's step number one. Create your plan. Does not have to mirror ours. That's just an example. And I'm going to highly encourage you that your plan is created within 24 hours of you committing to yourself that databasing is important and you're going to do it, and that you're making it a non-negotiable in your business. Every time you meet somebody before you go to bed that night, they're getting put in your database, because that's how important it is. And you understand that, so you do it. Why 24 hours? Because if you don't, the excitement and the understanding will leave. And it'll just simply be something in the back of the mind. There'll always be something greater. There's going to be another client to go sell a house to that will make you $15,000. Meanwhile, you're leaving $200,000, $300,000 going by the wayside. And that, 75% spread that NAR gives in their statistic is outselling, and some other agent, in essence, is stealing your commission. Okay. Keep it simple. What are you willing to negotiate or be non-negotiable? Are you just going to start off with a newsletter, right? Don't start doing the birthday calls until you know. I didn't start doing my Monday and Wednesday videos until I was committed to know that no matter what happened, those videos were going to go out. And then you need to execute. Lean on your partners, right? If you're in a state we work in, we'll co-sponsor your home bot. We'll help you. We'll get Kaylee, our marketing director, on the phone with you and help you create that template on MailChimp. If you're not in a state that we work on, reach out to the lender partners you have. Lean on them to help get this stuff set up for you. I'm telling you, this is the easiest path to duplicating and monetizing your database. That's all I got, Robin. I'm going to stop the share.
That was amazing, Jeff. Thank you so much for all of your wisdom. You are always so good at that. Yes, this is being recorded, everybody, and the replay will be available sometime tomorrow. We will get that out to you. I'm just going to do a quick share here. Everything you've been waiting for. Those of you who are new agents or no new agents, Jumpstart is here. We have it ready to go. So if you know somebody who would benefit from a Jumpstart program to get their business up and going, send them our way. We would love to have a talk with them, or if you yourself need to get started. Next.
And Robin, can I just put a plug in there for Jumpstart?
Yeah.
Guys, there's going to be a couple modules where I give that, and give me a little insight here, where I do a couple videos regarding the lower end mortgage knowledge that you need to be successful in real estate. So if you know somebody brand new, cannot recommend Jumpstart enough.
Yep, we have our coaches going through it right now, and they are just in shock at everything that's in there. They are so pleased with it. So they're getting ready for you guys. If you would like to learn more about our programs, feel free to visit finley-re.com or scan this QR code, and you can hear all about our programs, or read all about our programs. Sorry. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Robin, for hosting. You did amazing.
Have a great day, everybody.